we set out to build something. Not for us, but for you. In 1932, we set out on a mission to establish an institution that catered to the financial needs of every Grenadian. We envisioned a space where our people felt secure and welcome to do business with familiar faces. This was more than a commercial enterprise. Because we considered you to be family, we saw ourselves as building more than just a bank. We likened this establishment to a house. Since we opened our doors in 1933, you've remained with us ever since, growing with us and saving with us, but most importantly, trusting us to safeguard your interests. Through unrest and turmoil, you put your faith in us to be the shelter against adversity. Your trust is the foundation upon which we continue to build to provide stability and support for your dreams and aspirations. Your trust helped our family to grow, and as we grew, your needs grew in tandem. So we developed, expanding our accommodations to make you comfortable, transforming our humble abode to a modern center of business and commerce, while preserving our warm, friendly, family atmosphere. As we furnished our house with efficient services, you decorated our offices, walkways, and counters with smiles, love, and satisfaction, giving us the impetus to improve and do more. It took vision to build this establishment, and our vision has always revolved around the well-being of our people. It is vision that continues to guide our development, a vision of growth, a vision of expansion, a vision of the future, a vision that recognizes that the world is a global village and that technology has become an integral part of our lives. A vision that embraces the efficiencies of technology and its importance in diversifying our corporate and retail portfolios. A vision that represents your vision, your interests, and your needs. You see, we built a house, but it didn't take us long to realize that people, our people, make it home. Welcome home.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us at this press conference. We are delighted to present to you the bank's end-of-year performance as of September 30th, 2021. Let me introduce to you Co-op Bank's officials present with us this morning. Chairman of the Board of Directors, Mr. Darrell Braffett. Managing Director, Mr. Larry Lawrence, and Executive Manager of Finance, Mr. Aaron Logie. First, the Chairman of the Board will give an overview of the end-of-year's financial performance of the bank, followed by a presentation by our Managing Director on the end-of-year results of the customer experience ratings. We are indeed happy to have members of the media with us present here today. Those who were unable to be here physically with us will join us via Zoom with their questions. Without further ado, I wish to invite the Chairman of the Board, Mr. Darrell Braffett, to present an overview of the bank's end-of-year performance. The Chairman's presentation will be immediately followed by the Managing Directors.
Just about completing its second year, the COVID-19 pandemic continues to cast a long, dark shadow over Grenada's economic landscape. Grenada's economic recovery continues to be stymied by the slow rebound of the tourism sector, a low vaccination uptake, and the spread of the COVID-19 Delta variant. It is against that backdrop that the bank's 2021 performance should be viewed. Notwithstanding the difficult economic circumstances, the bank turned in a commendable performance in 2021. Co-op Bank recorded its 8th consecutive year of steady profitability despite the financial and economic crisis. Increasing by 3%, the bank turned in after-tax profits of $9.9 million compared with $9.6 million in 2020. This performance primarily reflects effective credit risk management along with consistent yields on a high-quality and expanding credit portfolio, effective management of the interest expense considering the value of the deposit portfolio, and growth in other income. The bank's non-performing loans ratio remained below 1% as of September 30, 2021, demonstrating the success of our previously articulated commitment to continuous improvement in our credit underwriting and the containment of loan delinquency. Maintaining high asset quality remains our primary focus. In 2021, total assets of the bank grew by 11.2%, or $143.9 million, and now stands at $1.43 billion, reflecting increases in customer loans, which expanded by $46.6 million, or 8.5% from 2020. This year also saw an expansion of $64.1 million, or 16.9% in the bank's investment portfolio. The bank's capital adequacy ratio remained within regulatory requirements of not less than 8% and stood at 12.1% as of September 2021. On October 12, 2021, the bank announced that it is a member of a consortium of leading indigenous banks in the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union that entered into a definitive agreement to acquire the branches and banking operations of CIBC First Caribbean in Dominica, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. This transaction is subject to regulatory approval and customary closing conditions. This acquisition is a significant development in the evolution of the banking system of Grenada. The bank will acquire a lean book of business that bolts on well to its current business model. The bank is committed to ensuring a smooth transition and integration process that meets, if not exceeds, the expectations of customers, regulators, and other stakeholders, leveraging our user-friendly and robust electronic banking channels, card and merchant services, and risk management and compliance capabilities. Acknowledgements. First, I convey my sincerest appreciation and gratitude to my colleague directors. They have continued to demonstrate their unwavering commitment to the effective oversight of the bank. Directors have also competently responded with prudence and alacrity to the challenges presented by the economic, banking, and regulatory environments, so as to ensure the bank's sustained progress. I especially place on record my appreciation for the sterling service of Director Gordon V. Steele, OBE, who passed away on June 5, 2021, and Director Derek Steele, who retired as at May 31, 2021. Secondly, I express on behalf of all the directors our deep appreciation and gratitude to Mr. Richard W. Duncan for his 25 years of UMN service to the bank. Mr. Duncan's stewardship of Grenada Co-operative Bank Limited has been nothing short of impeccable, marked by continuous growth and development of the institution. The Board of Directors wishes Mr. Duncan a happy and fulfilling retirement. Mr. Larry Lawrence has succeeded Mr. Duncan upon his retirement as Managing Director, effective December 6, 2021. Mr. Lawrence, who had 27 years of success as a career banker, has a strong work ethic, is self-driven, client-focused, and results-oriented. He is a Grenadian and comes with a wealth of experience and knowledge from one of the foreign banks operating in the Eastern Caribbean and wider CARICOM region. Thirdly, I applaud the management and staff for their continued dedication to the mission of the bank. With Grenadian pride, improving the lives of our customers through the provision of high-quality financial services while ensuring a fair return to our shareholders and contributing to the well-being of the citizens where we operate. Your dedication to duty in these uniquely difficult times is nothing but exemplary, as the overall improved performance of the company would not have been possible without your hard work and determination. Finally, to all our valued customers and shareholders, I express my heartfelt appreciation for your continued patronage and support of the Co-operative Bank, and wish everyone a safe and joyous holiday and productive 2022. I now invite Mr. Larry Lawrence, Managing Director, to present our customer experience ratings for 2021. Mr. Lawrence.
Thank you, listeners and viewers, for joining us at our end-of-year performance 2021 media.
Okay, we'll return to Mr. Lawrence's address. We now proceed with questions and answers. Ladies and gentlemen, we will... Just freeze it.
Thank you. Thank you, listeners and viewers, for joining us at our end-of-year performance 2021 media briefing. At Co-op Bank, we work persistently to improve the quality of experiences our customers enjoy. Your feedback holds us to account and help us to improve. Earlier this year, May 13th, the former managing director disclosed how our customers rated us in relation to the promise we have made in our customer service charter. The audit of our customer service charter by PKF Accountants Business Advisors affirms customer satisfaction rating over our 70% benchmark, standing at 79%, which is also a 3% increase of our 2020 rating of 76%. This is the fourth consecutive year we have been rated over our 70% benchmarks with scores of 76%, 77%, and 73% over 2020, 2019, and 2018 respectively. Equally important is how we stack up against our peers. This we glean from the annual independent household Omnibus survey conducted by Jude Bernard and Associates. This year's results show Grenada Co-operative Bank Limited remains the #1 bank in the commercial banking sector with respect to patronage. In 2021, 54% of the persons surveyed stated that they do business with us. This is a big jump from 2020 at 44% and 2018 at 37%. The bank continues to be the main banking institution for householders in Grenada. This is better understood when it is looked at in relation to the closest competitor with a patronage rate of 19%. With such an increase in the level of patronage, there is quite naturally pressure on our ability to maintain the high level of excellent customer service experience that we aspire to provide. Quite gratifying, the hard work and dedication of our staff has paid off. Co-op Bank in 2021 has the highest customer satisfaction index score among commercial banks with 82%. This again is a commendable performance, having rated above the industry 4-year average of 79%. A comparison with our peers is useful, and here our closest competitor has a customer satisfaction index of 80%. Taking into consideration the turbulent economic environment that currently exists and will persist for at least another 24 months, the bank remains committed to providing excellent customer service experience for its customers. Our financial support webinar, Making the Best Choice When Loan Payment Deferral is No More, on September 25, 2021, demonstrates our commitment to ensuring our customers and the public at large are well informed on matters affecting their financial and economic life, and how Grenada Co-operative Bank Limited intends to assist. Additionally, we remain steadfast to our mission of contributing to the well-being of the citizens where we operate. Our Super Starter Education Investment Plan scholarship continues to buffer against the medium to long-term negative fallout of the COVID-19 pandemic on Grenada's human resource capital. Our scholarship spend for 2021 exceeded $320,000, on par with that of 2020. The expansion of our education scholarship program now includes the Derek Steele's Memorial Scholarship for students attending the T.A. Marisho Community College, pursuing technical and vocational studies. More details on this scholarship will be released in due course. Co-op Bank remains committed to improving on its customer service experience. Your feedback is very important to us, and we encourage you to let us know how we can serve you better. Log your feedback via our website at www.grenadacoopbank.com or WhatsApp us at 410-CARE, that's 410-2267. Throughout this season, and as we move into the new and hopefully better year, Co-op Bank wishes you moments of peace amid the difficulties, connections with family and friends, even if they can't be in person, the warmth of memories from holidays past, and wonderful glimpses of the joy that still lives under the surface. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do apologize for that technical glitch. It was really beyond our control. Thank you, Director Braffett and Mr. Lawrence. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now entertain questions, comments, or feedback from the media. Please state your name and the media house you represent. For questions via Zoom, kindly hit the raise hand button to indicate your intent to address the panel. The in-house seated audience are kindly asked to do likewise by raise of hand. Questions can also be sent in via WhatsApp on number 410-CARE, 410-2267. Okay, while you formulate your questions, if there... Okay, go ahead, please.
Amanda Sampson, WPG10. Mr. Brathwaite, you indicated in the presentation that the bank has been experiencing a steady profitability level for the past 8 years with a 11.2 increase in assets this year. How has the bank been able to maintain this, and what strategies has been used?
There's a process: strategic planning, budgeting, long-term planning. We have a vision, long-term vision, that we are slowly working towards. The central bank, fortunately for us, the central bank, fortunately for the region, was able to set up a moratorium during the COVID pandemic. And this was initially 6 months and continues until March this next year. This means that the impact on business, although the businesses would see a reduction in their revenues, they were able to continue maintaining their loan payments to the bank. And the bank was able to continue processing, from an accounting standpoint, the accrual of interest and the cash flows. So the impact of COVID is yet to come. It is not, you wouldn't see it in the last year. You would see it physically, as you see the transactions around town and people's traffic and so on diminishes. But from an accounting standpoint, because of the moratorium, you don't get that impact yet, which is why we have to be extra careful in the coming year to support people on a one-on-one basis, to understand what each person, each organization is going through, so that we can carry it forward when the moratorium ends. Fortunately for us, because the vaccine is out, we have seen now a resumption in tourism. We've seen cruise ships start arriving and scheduled aircraft. You know, I mean the ones that bring the tourists in large numbers. And so we can see a pickup. So the other thing to consider is confidence has to remain high. People have to feel that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So the government has followed their COVID policy that they chose, which is generally recommended by the WHO. That has been followed. Grenadians have complied. It has been quite good. We've been fairly well disciplined. There have been a few little glitches, but that's okay. You know, we're not perfect. And the banks have had a structured response with the support of the ECCB to how we manage loan payments and receivables during this period. So it has been reasonably good for us. The port has stayed open, so people have received supplies. So it's just a social activity, really, that people have felt the most pain, that you know, you can't see family and friends the way you used to, and the recreational facilities like bars, restaurants, and so on have suffered tremendously, and the small hotels. You know, it's amazing that they've been able to stay open, but because we are all following a plan and a structure, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel. You can see there's a solution. There's no general panic. It's just the resilience to hold on while we ride through the storm. So what we hope to see is that the vaccination uptake, it continues so that it doesn't interfere with the growth that we are now seeing again and the resumption of tourism, which is our key factor.
What if this current economic downturn we're experiencing continues beyond? What's the bank's plans to mitigate that?
But remember that during something like this COVID pandemic, which is new to everybody on the planet, you can set up long-range plans, but you have to keep adjusting them as things develop. And anybody who tried to travel anywhere in the last year would realize you might be able to get there, but how do you get back? You know, borders can open and close unexpectedly, and flights have to be rerouted to bring you back home at a cost that you may not be practical. So the thing in terms of planning, it's one day at a time, 1 week at a time. And that's how the governments have to respond as well. They're testing. You would see that we are being released now, so we could enjoy Christmas a little bit. But that could change in a matter of days. You just need the latest variant, Omicron, to be worse than people expected. And then all the plans change all over again. So we have to be agile, flexible, and cooperative.
One last question for Mr. Lawrence. How was the customer service reviews gathered? I don't think you mentioned it in the presentation.
Yes. Customer service reviews are typically gathered via surveys or typically surveys.
Okay, thank you.
Donella, host on MTV. In recent times, the bank would have initiated more of a online presence for its customers, particularly due to the pandemic. How has that been going, especially with the rapid growth that the bank has been seeing? And can we, the customers, expect even more online services being offered for the coming year?
Yes, so the bank has expanded its electronic channels offering, especially during the COVID times, maybe as far back as April 2020, when it was extremely apparent that persons preferred not to come to the bank. The bank was not encouraging customers to visit the branches. So as a result, there was more of an uptake in persons using that channel when previously persons preferred maybe just to come to the branch. So yes, it has expanded. We have seen customers being prepared to use that channel. And going forward, the intention is to certainly improve the offering in that particular channel. Next year, we expect to have customers do the capabilities of being able to perform their wire transfers using the electronic channels, being able to transfer between accounts in another bank from the Grenada Co-operative Bank and vice versa using the electronic channels. So certainly in that area, the bank will be improving its capabilities and offerings to customers.
Okay. We have the recent acquisition of the other, I think it's First Caribbean?
Yes, CIBC First Caribbean.
CIBC First Caribbean, sorry. Yes. What can we expect going forward as customers? What are some of the new things that will be offered, even for the current CIBC customers? They may be skeptical of, wanting to take their monies out because they're not sure, Yes. So how can you assure us that we're going to be safe with the Grenada Co-operative Bank?
All right, so very easy answer. We are looking forward to welcoming the CIBC First Caribbean customers. We want to welcome them home into the Co-op Bank family. Certainly what they can expect is the continuation of the trend of growth and certainly stability that has been evident in the Grenada Co-operative Bank. So that would be my offering, my strong suggestion to the public, to CIBC First Caribbean customers. We certainly expect to welcome them home and continue the trend of growth that has been evident at the Grenada Co-operative Bank over the last many years.
Thank you. We've seen a number of questions on Zoom. So at this time, I'd like to invite Gerard Joseph of GBN to proceed with your question, sir.
Hi, Gerard Joseph, GBN. A question for either Mr. Barfitt or Mr. Lawrence. What has been the it factor in terms of garnering the growth we have seen for the last 4 years, especially in terms of more customers at the bank?
Mr. Joseph, I would like you to repeat your question, please.
No problem. What has been the it factor in terms of the growth witnessed in the last 4 years, in terms of the 54% in terms of more customers, more clients at the bank?
Mr. Joseph, the principal factors have been the bank's focus over the last many years on having a customer service charter, on living and being accountable to the customer service charter, on offering excellent service to its customers in a consistent manner, and as a result, the ease of doing business at the Grenada Co-operative Bank has caused customers to come to our doors. They certainly know and believe that they would get a consistent service. So that has been the principal reason that we've been able to see the growth, maintain the growth, and we expect to continue sustaining that trend into the future.
Okay, my second and most likely final question. In terms of the acquisition of First Caribbean, with the numbers coming over, any challenges posed in hindering such growth and development for the bank?
No, the transaction itself was the right fit and the right thing, the right transaction for the Grenada Cooperative Bank to do at this time, having regard to consistently growing over the course of the last also 8 years. It made sense. It was clear that CIBC First Caribbean intended to sell. So therefore, it then made sense for the Grenada Cooperative Bank to enter into an agreement to purchase and acquire the assets of CIBC First Caribbean. In terms of the Grenada Cooperative Bank's ability to be able to transition and assimilate those customers into the Grenada Cooperative Bank family, that of course is subject to the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank regulatory approval, and that regulatory approval is a work in progress. It's expected to take a maximum of, I think, 6 months thereabout. So we have made application. It is a work in progress. But our ability to bring on board and offer a seamless service to the customers of CIBC First Caribbean, whilst also maintaining the customer satisfaction levels of the Grenada Cooperative Bank customers, we anticipate no challenges in us being able to do that. It's all part of proper integration planning, proper transitioning of the business over to the Grenada Cooperative Bank, and no challenges are anticipated, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you. I'm seeing a number of questions on Zoom. So we'll take Ms. Linda Straker now, then we'll go back to WeFM. One of our in-house media personnel is here as well. So Ms. Linda Straker, please proceed.
Good morning, and thank you. I have a number of questions, but I'm going to start with, recently we would have seen a notice from the bank telling customers about adjustments in the fees. Can the manager or the chairman, someone explain to us the rationale behind the adjustments? Some are slight and some are major decreases. That's the first question, adjustment to the fees. The other question has to do we were able to get a copy of the bank's statements of profit and loss, and there's a section called other operating income. Can the manager explain to us what are other operating income? I realized that in 2021 it was less than what was in 2020, and the increase in deposit, can you tell us whether or not this is because of new clients, or is a case where old clients are making more deposits? That's my questions for now.
All right, so I will take the first part of the question with respect to the reduction of fees. Yes, so this has been quite topical within the industry, and it is especially timely at this time, given that there is economic uncertainty. Many persons would have lost their jobs, so it made sense for us to respond to that feature in the market and seek to reduce fees so that customers who, of course, are treated with these transaction fees will find it easier to do business and continue to do business at the Grenada Cooperative Bank.
Statements of profit and loss, other operating income.
Yes, I will pass this to Mr. Logie, our Executive Manager of Finance, to speak to that question. Thanks.
Good afternoon. Good morning, everyone.
It's on.
It's on.
It's on.
Okay, just a follow-up to Mr. Lawrence on the fees and charges. So at Co-op Bank, we pride ourselves in being one of the lowest in the market. And our approach to fees and charges is that we try to recover the costs of providing the services to customers. And so in addition to that, we are strategic in terms of making electronic services much affordable and to encourage more participation, more persons using electronic services. Going on to the second question in terms of the other operating income, In there, we have a host of things. We have fees and charges, the very same thing we just talked about, as well as our investment income. So in 2021, we experienced a decline, and that decline is attributable to the investment income. We have a sizable investment portfolio on the international market, and as the market in 2020, 2021 recalibrate itself, we experienced some decline. In addition to, we shift our strategy on an investment portfolio. We move from certain type of investment to others, and that would have experienced a decline in the transition period, and hence we have lower operating income from the investment portfolio. And the final question I think you asked is the increase in deposits. But it's from our existing customers and new customers. Most of our increase in deposits will come from existing customers. It's a testimony of the confidence that our depositors have in our bank, and that is really what's driving the growth of the bank over the last several years.
Thank you, Mr. Logie and Mr. Lawrence. Just to remind persons, we have another WhatsApp number you can use to send in your questions. Number 410-2273. 410-2273. Mr. Rapier, we know you have been waiting for a while. Just give us a few minutes. We'll get to you shortly. We'd like to invite WeFM to ask your question, please.
Sophie here, representing WeFM. My question to you, sir, is there has been a lot of new and upcoming businesses. A lot of people have been laid off, but yet still we see a lot of people being resilient and starting their own. How is the bank able to, or what is the bank doing to assist them? I know you mentioned recently the fees, reduce the fees and so on. So I want to know what exactly is the bank. Is there a particular drive to encourage young entrepreneurship, basically?
Well, I really would like Mr. Lawrence to speak to that. This is a pet subject of mine, small business support, ever since my days in the Chamber of Commerce and so on. So we have some plans afoot that we should be releasing to the public, informing the public fairly soon. So I don't want to give away too much up front, because what we like to do, we like to be like the postman, we deliver and we don't just promise. But it's coming soon, and it's going to be within the next couple of months. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Mr. Lawrence wants to add to that. Mm-hmm.
Just pretty much to echo the sentiments of Chairman Brathwaite, where that particular MSME sector would be the focus of attention and service delivery, certainly in the 2022 period. So we would just like the public to stay tuned.
Thank you, WeFM. We now go back to our Zoom platform. Ms. Emily Rapier, we'd like to invite you to ask your question, please.
Good morning, Emily Rapier, TNR Communications. Co Bank is a part of a consortium that has acquired CIBC, as we know. Will the existing First Caribbean branches in Grenada become a part of the Co-op brand, or will they remain a part of the First Caribbean brand?
Yes, so thanks, Ms. Rapier. I will take that question. Immediately upon approval by the regulator, CIBC First Caribbean will no longer be operating in Grenada, and therefore the branches as they now exist will no longer be operating, certainly not under that brand, and they will all become part of the Grenada Co-operative Bank family. Physically, in terms of branding, it will all change over to the Grenada Co-operative Bank.
Thank you. Just a couple more.
Go ahead.
What is Co-op Bank currently doing to help Grenadian businesses accept online payments more efficiently?
We did speak earlier about the improvement in our electronic banking platform, So that continues to be a work in progress. As part of that general upgrade would also be improving our e-commerce banking capability, which would allow existing customers to process, to accept payments via credit cards using the e-commerce channel. So that upgrade is currently a substantial work in progress, and we expect to have it launched in 2022.
Okay, lovely. Are there any plans to increase the number of ATMs across Grenada, Carriacou, and Monique in 2022? If so, how many or what areas of the country can we expect this?
So at the moment, no plans to launch new ABMs, but what we have done, and persons would see it at our Tower Hive office and also at the carriacou office, is to launch intelligent ABMs. So the existing ABMs are being swapped out to intelligent ABMs. That certainly is an improvement in the overall quality of the experience that customers would have when they do visit our branches. And we also ask customers to also note that there are many options. There's a Connex network, so a customer who has a card is not limited to just going to a Grenada Co-operative Bank branch, but they can certainly treat with the ABMs that would be branded under the Connex brand network throughout the length and breadth of Grenada.
Thank you very much. That'll be all for now.
We have another question coming in from Ms. Linda Straker. Can Mr. Lawrence or Mr. Braffett confirm that increased savings in 2020-2021 from clients is contributing to increased profit?
Yes, Ms. Straker, happy to take this one. It is a bit of a catch-22 of sorts, in that the more banking in and of itself is against deposits, and from those deposits you are able to invest, and what you pay as an expense in deposit, which typically is interest expense, you hope that when you invest, you're able to collect interest income or investment income. Mr. Logie just spoke to that, which is priced higher, so therefore you make a profit. So the answer is yes. With the increased confidence placed in the bank by members of the public, we do have, of course, increased deposits to the tune of 1.2 billion, thereabout, as of September 2021, and that affords us the opportunity to provide more loans, which is part of our financial intermediation function, and also naturally to invest. And investment income, our capacity to generate investment income is increased because of having increased deposits. So the overall answer is yes, it does allow us to be more profitable, but one, of course, we must manage the interest expense, which comes with increased deposits. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence. We have two questions coming in specifically for Mr. Logie on shares. So the viewer is asking, should shareholders be concerned with the value of their shares in Co-op Bank at this time? And we think this comes after the first one. Is this a good time to sell my GCBL shares if I am in dire need of cash?
Well, we heard the chairman spoke about the performance of the bank over the last 10 years. Profits have steadily been good. We have seen for 2021 consistent performance in the key areas in terms of revenue, as well as we have been able to contain the growth of expenses within below that of the inflation rate. And as a result, we see that for 2021, the profit was just on the after-tax profit, just under 10 million. I see all that to say that the performance of any share depends on the performance of the company whose shares that you're holding. So in Co-op case, in terms of the value of the shares, I will say there is no concern. The company has performed well, and the expectation is that we'll continue the profitability, the growth and the profitability of Co-op Bank. if you observe the price of the shares, now Co-op Bank shares are traded on the East Caribbean Security Exchange. And over the last 12 months or so, the share price has been consistent for about $8.88. I also have to add that the net book value, basically the value of the company, the total assets divided by the number of shares, as of September 30th, it's almost $16, which is twice time the traded value. Now, that might have a story in itself, but it's not abnormal in the sense that we do not have a deep market for trading shares in the Eastern Caribbean. There are not many buyers and sellers. So as a result, even though the company is expanding, the asset base is increasing, the traded value is not keeping up at the same pace. There's also another phenomena that explains the reason why the net book value is much more than the market value. And it's because as a bank, we are in a mature sector. And usually for mature companies and companies operating in mature sectors, the net book value tend to be much higher than the traded value, which is the opposite for upcoming industries, new companies, where the traded value tend to be much more than the net book value. So I say all that to say that I think that the outlook for Co-op Bank shares is positive as we continue to increase, report profits in the future. The book value will continue to increase, and hopefully as investors' confidence increase, we will see the market value increase in the future. Now, in terms of should you sell your shares right now in case you need cash, that depends on the objective of holding shares in the first place. But I would advise that you speak to a financial advisor or a broker. At Co-op Bank, we have our wealth management services, and they exist primarily to provide financial advice to customers, investors. So if do you have the dilemma of whether to sell your shares now or to hold onto it, you can think of the options. You can either raise cash now by some other means, by a loan, or you sell your shares, and then you basically could compare the options. If you sell your shares now, you're giving up the opportunity for dividends and further increase in the value of your shares, which you can sell later on. And you can compare that if you raise the cash otherwise by, say, a loan. What is the cost of loan? So you could compare the two options and determine what is the best for you. But my final advice is that you speak to your financial advisor, and we do have a unit in Co-op Bank that you can come in and get those advice before you make an important decision as to buy or sell shares.
Thank you, Mr. Logie. If we don't have any questions from our internal media houses at the moment, we have a question coming in here for the managing director, and this person is strictly interested in the bank's impact in the community. Grenada Co-operative Bank has generated an impressive after-tax profit of $9.9 million relative to the difficult economic times we live in. How is the bank helping to support communities and customers who have been negatively impacted by the fallouts of the COVID-19 pandemic?
So thank you for that question. Principally, customers who are impacted with the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic, they are hurt with respect to employment. Some are not working at all, and some would have had reduced income. And for many others, if even they're working, there is just the aspect of uncertainty. So what the Grenada Co-operative Bank has done is to assist customers through loan moratorium. Customers would naturally have entered into financial obligations such as loans and having their income affected. they in turn would require assistance. So knowing that you have a ready bank who loans officers of the bank are willing to listen or willing to treat with your individual circumstance. So the loan moratorium program would have included customers who had the ability to only pay interest, customers who had the ability to not make any payments at all once their circumstances would have been readily established through conversation, and customers who in and of themselves are hesitant or looking to treat whether am I going to enter into this obligation now or not. So the bank has always been open to those customers, being able to help and assist them with helping or treating with their specific circumstance as they would have been impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. I will also add to say that we did notice as the Grenada Co-operative Bank that there were customers who, for example, within communities, there are many children, many students who would have been impacted through, of course, not being able to go to school. Their parents would have been impacted through their income being severed or income being cut because of their inability to work or work the same amount of hours. So at the Grenada Co-operative Bank, we do have a program called the Education Investment Program, where customers are given the ability to treat with a scholarship once, 7 scholarships per year, 1 per parish. So 7 scholarships. We would have expanded that to have 7 scholarships rather per parish. So we would have done that as a result specifically to treat with persons who would have been impacted, and given, of course, that the children are the future and their education is important. So the scholarship program itself would have been substantially expanded to facilitate persons still being able to go to school, persons still being able to receive an education through the modality that would have been appropriate at the time given the pandemic. So I will say certainly that given the success of the bank has done and satisfied its corporate social responsibility in that regard.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lawrence. We now have another question coming in from one of our overseas customers. And she is asking, are there any plans to eliminate the SWIFT code needed to send money electronically to Grenada?
No, at the moment, that SWIFT code is an international standard, which is specific to each bank. So at the moment, no, there are no plans specifically to eliminate the SWIFT code. We would be subject to the standards and the international requirements of the money transfer system. So no, at the moment, that is not currently in the cards.
Thank you, sir. Linda Straker is asking one last question. Financial institution appears to be the targets of hackers. How much of a hacking or phishing problem the bank had to deal with this year?
I'll take this one there. Thank you, Ms. Straker, for that question. Cyber threat, cyber crimes continues to be a concern of any financial institution, and we have not had any specific, nothing has been identified specifically in that regard, but we do know that there are scams out there, and we do ask customers to be very careful with their credit cards when they enter the numbers onto dodgy websites. We certainly would want to ask them to exercise due care and caution when treating with inputting their card numbers on websites. The established websites, such as the Amazons and so, certainly are expected to be more secure. We ask customers also to be notified and to take care that the bank, Grenada Co-operative Bank, will not be asking them to provide their personal information such as PINs and passwords, and so we would not ask customers to do that. So customers, of course, we are educating, informing, asking them to exercise the usual due care and attention. So that would be my response in that regard to your question, Ms. Straker, and I hope it does satisfy.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lawrence. Are there any more questions from our seated panel, seated media personnel, sorry? Okay, if there are no more questions, we wish to thank you. We thank our viewers and our listening audience, and specifically our media personnel, those seated here and those joining us on Zoom. On behalf of the board and management and staff of Grenada Co-operative Bank, we thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. Remember, for your own safety and that of others, please continue to adhere to all the COVID-19 protocols, regulations, and safety measures from our Ministry of Health. And please remain safe. We are in this together. Thank you once again. Do enjoy the rest of today, and a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all. You're welcome, sir.
We set out to build something, not for us, but for you. In 1932, we set out on a mission to establish an institution that catered to the financial needs of every Grenadian. We envisioned a space where our people felt secure and welcome to do business with familiar faces. This was more than a commercial enterprise. Because we considered you to be family, we saw ourselves as building more than just a bank. We likened this establishment to a house. Since we opened our doors in 1933, you've remained with us ever since, growing with us and saving with us, but most importantly, trusting us to safeguard your interests. Through unrest and turmoil, you put your faith in us to be the shelter against adversity. Your trust is the foundation upon which we continue to build to provide stability and support for your dreams and aspirations. Your trust helped our family to grow, and as we grew, your needs grew in tandem. So we developed, expanding our accommodations to make you comfortable, transforming our humble abode to a modern center of business and commerce, while preserving our warm, friendly, family atmosphere. As we furnished our house with efficient services, you decorated our offices, walkways, and counters with smiles, love, and satisfaction, giving us the impetus to improve and do more. It took vision to build this establishment, and our vision has always revolved around the well-being of our people. It is vision that continues to guide our development, a vision of growth, a vision of expansion, a vision of the future, a vision that recognizes that the world is a global village and that technology has become an integral part of our lives. A vision that embraces the efficiencies of technology and its importance in diversifying our corporate and retail portfolios. A vision that represents your vision, your interests, and your needs. You see, we built a house, but it didn't take us long to realize that people, our people, Make it home. Welcome home.